Welcome into our first HogZone panel of the season. I'm joined by former Razorback Madre Hill and our Razorback insider Jim Harris. And guys, just first of all, how great is it just to be back watching Razorback football?
It's wonderful. I'm excited. What a great start.
Yeah, it was a good day, wasn't it?
It was a wonderful day.
It was a wonderful day. I'm glad they moved it to noon after all said and done. We got done. Everybody was able to get out and celebrate a big victory.
Yes. Plus, shorten the off season a little bit. Why not? Even by 3 hours. It makes it feel good. And then the game itself. We started to talk about it a little bit earlier, but the Razorbacks had kind of struggled out the gate the last couple years with these FCS opponents, with these non-Power 5 opponents. It was important to them to get off to a hot start. And Madre, we'll start with you. Just that first quarter, what did you see out of them? What was working?
Well, what I saw was a well-prepared team. Coach Pittman had them prepared. I noticed that they was taking all the right steps. They knew their assignments. That's something that we took for granted years in the past. But, man, we don't take those things for granted anymore. It's all the little things that help win games, and we did those things tonight. I feel that as we move forward, we can increase our efficiency and continue to move forward.
Yeah, you think about under Sam Pittman, they've only played one game, and that was against UAPB, where they were able to really clear the bench by halftime. Other than that, they wanted to. They wanted to last year against Missouri State, but it didn't work out that way, and they were already into the fourth quarter before they pulled that game out. So today, to start fast, to get 2 touchdowns on the first 2 possessions, and to take control, and the defense have 3 straight 3-and-outs, that was kind of just what everybody ordered, and it was great to see the backups in the second half. Although there's some mistakes made, right. It was great to see a backup quarterback lead them to a touchdown like, Morrilton's Jacoby Criswell did. And
in the past, we didn't have those moments where backups could be able to come in and play. We were fighting for our lives throughout the whole entire game. Yeah. So like you said, it was a wonderful opportunity to see what the future holds and get those guys prepared. It only takes one play and one snap.
You never had to worry about getting in the game. You were worried about getting the rest. But how do you think those kids felt that were like the freshmen? Davian Dozier catches a touchdown pass
from Criswell.
How do you think those guys felt today getting a taste of?
Let me tell you, it builds more camaraderie. You know what I'm saying? Those guys have the opportunity to contribute, be a part of it. Day in day, and they give their all in practice to prepare those other guys for those opportunities that we see on Saturday and Saturday nights. But to have those guys come in and contribute and have opportunity to get off in there and feel what the game pressure is like, because the game pressure is totally different from practice. It means a lot to those guys, and it gets them ready for an opportunity because, hey, there's always the next man up.
I think a lot of questions this offseason, obviously. New coordinators on both sides of the ball, lots of transfers coming in. One of the big ones was, who's KJ Jefferson going to throw it to? He lost so many guys last year, and it turns out the answer kind of was everyone. Jim, we'll start with you. Just what do you see out of this wide receiver?
I thought that was, to me, the real standout part of the ball game, other than the defense getting 5 turnovers, which I didn't expect either. But I thought the receivers all stepping up. You had almost a totally new crew. I know Jaden Wilson played a little last year, but he wasn't one of the major factors in the receiving game, except maybe in the bowl game. But you got Isaac Tesla and Armstrong, on down the list. Satania, I don't have my list in front of me, but I know
and you need a full list. He threw it to 8 different guys.
KJ found 8 different players and I think that was all Enos. I think Enos wanted him to feed all these different guys and to get game speed out there. And the guy that really just wowed me with his hands was Tesla. He's just, or Tesla, however, I'm going to learn before the year's over.
It's not like the car.
Yeah, it's not like a Tesla, but he was really energetic, and his block on the first touchdown sprung Jaden Wilson for 65 yards. Then you come back later, and he has deceptive speed, fantastic hands, caught a 31-yard touchdown pass. I just loved seeing all those receivers step up, because Western Carolina, Madre was not going to let Arkansas run the football today.
Yeah, you're right, and it was definitely a Oprah moment. You get a ball, you get a ball, you get a ball, you get a ball. So it was nice to see the ball be contributed and sent out to everybody to be a part of, and that really helps for the next game because defensive coordinators, they go off in there and try to key in and try to take away and rotate the secondary towards a wide receiver. Well, in this game, we showed that we have the opportunity to pass to multiple people, that we have a lot of dangerous weapons at wide receiver. And in the past, that hasn't been the case, simply because we usually have one dominant player. And if you're able to rotate your defense and secondary to that person, it causes problems. So it was great to see that you're just not going to come in and just take away one weapon, that you're going to have to scheme for the whole entire thing.
Well, it was also good to see that you can't throw the ball without protection. And even though there's going to be a lot of questions between now and next Saturday about the run blocking, and there's a lot of reasons for that, as I know Madre wants to get into, but the pass blocking, when you consider all 5 starting offensive linemen were new. You had one guy move to center, you had another returner that was out. So basically you had an entire starting offensive line that's new, and I thought they did an outstanding job. There may have been one sack on KJ and a little pressure that caused a fumble that was scary at one point in the game, but the protections, that's not easy to get that all down by the opening game of the season, but that was one area that was also impressive. Right,
because typically people think the run blocking is the most difficult part of offensive line play, but it really is the scheming of taking the proper steps to get to the second level in run blocking. So everybody was wondering why why Rocket is not being able to get to the second level. I'm not worried about that. I think that'll take care of itself. Offensive line is a position that has to gel. So you have to give those guys, they literally have to eat together, they have to sleep together, they have to go take showers together. I know that's funny, but they do. Those guys are a man crew of themselves, and it takes that type of gelling and brotherhood for that offensive line to move in a way that is sinking and one. So by the third game, that's going to take care of itself, and I think that the run scheme will start to take off.
All right, let's flip to the other side of the ball now. Jim, you mentioned 5 takeaways for the defense, definitely kind of how they wanted to come out the gate.
Yeah, that was really special to see guys, especially when it was capped by a true freshman, Brad Spence, linebacker. They said he'd get to play, so he's not going to redshirt anyway. But to see him pick that ball off at the 15, take it the whole distance, was the capper. Arkansas turned Western Carolina over 4 times. In the first half, they turned them over 3 times in Western Carolina's end of the field. That set up really short drives. I think one was 31 yards, one was 32, and then there was a 47-yard drive, and also the punt return by Satania that got them into Western Carolina territory too. So 4 straight possessions with less than half the field to carry. You'd like that every game, wouldn't you?
I'm telling you, that offense loves that when you have that type of defensive play. I think that our offense is going to have to carry the load this year. Because of all the firepower that we have. KJ is on the right track. Our wide receiver play is there. Our offensive play calling is right on point. So I think that we're going to have to hang our hat on our offense and allow our defense the opportunity to scheme, because it's going to take a lot of scheming, because our defensive line is built for the pass rush. I'm not sure how they're going to respond to the run. And we have a situation where we have young and new linebackers in there. So it's going to put a lot of pressure on our back end. So if we're not able to stop the run, I see that being a problem.
Let me ask you
outside
today,
of that, we're good.
What did you think? Do you think Arkansas played them safe? up front, so that because they knew Western Carolina and Coach Kerwin Bell loved those little bubble screens. Was Arkansas trying to play their front more safe so they didn't get into bad angles to stop those bubble screens? Is that why we didn't see as much real honest pass rush today?
Well, I think that in the course of Coach scheming for this game, which I don't think he really schemed. I think we played very basic up front. More protection, first game, feel out what we're capable of doing so that we can go back and look at film and do self-corrections. I think that we haven't schemed, and to be honest with you, we really don't want to in non-conference games because, LSU is going to be sitting there looking at all the tape saying these guys did this guy did that. Right. So we don't want to give those guys, because we don't like LSU people. So we don't want to give them anything. We don't want to give them anything. So as long as we play in a defensive front that's able to stop our current opponent that we're playing in non-conference, we're good.
Oh, I love that we look. I love what Barry Odom did. He did great things for this defense over his time, but I really got a little sick and tired of the rush 3, drop 8. I think everybody was prepared for that with Arkansas last year and chewed it up. They needed something new. Your new 2 coordinators this year, they had them attacking today. You had a secondary that was alive. They didn't have to drop 3 safeties back to cover the pass. They were making terrific interceptions. I love what Jaden Johnson's done with himself physically and how he played aggressively. Last year, I wasn't sure he could play in the SEC. He wouldn't tackle very well, and he just seemed a little timid. Today, he looks like a leader. He looks like a heck of a safety. So does that. I'm sorry, I don't have the roster in front of me, but number 1, who took over for our last number 1, Catalon, the transfer from Baylor, I think. He looks fantastic.
Yeah, our secondary is definitely our strong point regarding our defense. It's very obvious. I think against any team like BYU, they're really going to come into play with the talent that we have in the backfield. I think that was really a big focus point of our team this year, especially in recruiting, going out getting
especially
guys.
After last year.
Exactly. So I think we're solidified that. I think it's just going to be game by game defensive line, linebacker play that's going to continue to get better.
All right, we're going to pause or kind of switch directions here a little bit. So many good things happening on the field in this game, but there's always that conversation that's had among Razorback fans. Let's go with that. When you play in Little Rock, which is, it's tradition. It's the 75th of War Memorial, but then, people like to throw out, it's, you can't have recruits at the game. It's a lot smaller of a stadium. Madre, we'll start with you. Just what does this game mean to Central Arkansas?
Well, it brings the Razorbacks to Central Arkansas. A lot of people, I remember back in the day when there was a pig trail, they couldn't get up to Fayetteville. Now that there's more accessible roads, the highway's been built, it's a lot easier. So, the biggest thing is what it does to the economy here in Central Arkansas. Dillard's, it gives them, the local restaurants, the shopping. It really helps out the local community. But at the same time, I can see the good and the bad being balanced regarding it. Alabama used to do that. Ole Miss used to do that. So they have since ceased and stopped doing that. And it helps them in recruiting. So, it's a give and take type of situation. I know that my people love coming to Little Rock. It's just a different atmosphere. It's just a different game,
I wish you're talking about supporting all the activities going around. It looked like half the crowd was gone by halftime. I always am surprised that people here leave so soon too. I would have wanted to see some of those backups playing the second half.
Yeah. No one from Morrilton left at halftime. We know that. They were waiting to see Jacoby get in the game.
But I just wish that playing here, and I think they will play again next year, and then Arkansas State. They play Arkansas State here.
Yeah, it's UAPB next year, then A-State in 25.
And I know UAPB doesn't excite them, and obviously Western Carolina, there was a nice crowds on the sides, and the end zones had the empty seats. I just wish if you want a game in Little Rock, certainly there's enough people to pack that stadium. I don't care if they're playing Sisters of the Poor. This is an SEC team, and they ought to deserve your support. You know, he's got a good program going. I'm really impressed with the depth, but this game's passed now. Next week is Kent State, and hopefully we'll see 70-something thousand show up in Fayetteville for that one and start supporting this program like it's an SEC program.
Next year, make sure you come out and support. Pack the stadium is very
Go to the
important.
UAPB
If you want a game in Little Rock, come out.
The tickets here are not very expensive either, you know,
Yeah.
for these non-conference games. And I think parking across from the stadium was more expensive than the game tickets.